Oh, hey there. Welcome back inside DrBossKey. And today we are talking about updates to our player character and the weaponry. So Dimitri, thank you very much for the turnarounds. Why don't we hop over to it? All right, so I updated our Trello cards. First of all, just to show you guys what's what. Look at this thing. Starting to look juicy. Mwah, mwah. Yeah, duck kiss. We're getting there. So, that's super important. Also, look at this. So we got the new version of the renders, doing our renders by hand here, of course. We've got the new version of the sort of the magic portals and kind of having a pushing through spiderweb effect a little bit. So I got some feedback there. I like what you did here more with the smaller turret as opposed the big turret's not bad either, but I think we're kind of missing things, but we're getting there. So I got some more feedback specifically for that. Also, let's see, can I do this? Hello, come on. Juicy button. All right, so yeah, so we got juicy DBK. So, I think overall, I think that pushing the glow, we're a little bit lopsided on the glow, but that's all right. But I think pushing the inner glow is good. The outer glow definitely helps a bit more. So I was playing with that a bit. It's a little plain Jane, but I think it does exactly what it needs to do. So and I got some feedback for you specifically about that as well, Dimitri. So, okay. And I think that catches you up. Oh, that's right. Okay, cool. So I have a version of this in game. Hello in game. I mean, we wouldn't be looking at context unless we had baddies. So grab my controller here. So, boy, that's a lot of Jesus bullets. I got to work on that sound for that. That's just this is not the sound I want for that. But it doesn't matter. So let's take a look here. It doesn't matter right now. That is. I'll just turn it all off. All right, cool. So I think we're getting there. I think we cover up the majority of the torso, which is nice. And I think right now, and I'll give you this, I wrote the feedback up as well, Dimitri. It's what we talked about yesterday in yesterday's video. But basically, I want us to explore another weak spot shape. So again, taking inspiration from Gun Vein and really figuring out, I think, the sort of the design methodologies there. I think that we're getting better with the kind of sparkle guidelines. I wound up changing these to additive in the engine. Oh, I got mushed. Yeah, so it gives it a bit more of a brightness. It's better. So, but I think there's something about the shape. And I don't think we're going to fix it in this. I think this is a version I think we can go with. But that's why I want to explore the other weak spot. So, all right. So let me flip back over. So that was the weak spot. All right. So let's see here. All right. So let's see here. So a little bit of feedback on the player character weak spot. So here you can see when we have the frame that is empty, showing just the inner chest, what we wind up missing. And again, you can see it here, I think in the footage, right? So what we wind up missing is we go from really bright to not bright at all. We have a little bit of the guides here. The guides are still growing a little bit from inner to outer, which is bugging me a little bit, but like one thing at a time. But I think what we can do is we can add just a little bit more brightness, not a ton, just a little bit more to make that purple a little more glowy in the chest area, right? So I think we look at this. I think it just needs to be just a little whiter, hotter in that space. Everything else should be fine. But that was one minor. I mean, we're getting down to it, so that was a minor bit of feedback. All right, weak spots. So we talked about the gun vein side of that, so that's good. On the weapons, okay. So here, Dimitri, what we can just use this for reference. So this is closer to what I had in mind, so thank you. Do me a favor, let's do two versions. So do a version you're uncomfortable with, like do a version where like the spider webbing comes out here, it fades out, right? But you can see, I know Marza Designs, whatever, but just go big, like be uncomfortable, go big. It doesn't mean we're going to use it, but we need it for reference, right? I think we're a tiny bit too conservative, and that's hurting some of the creativity of what I'm trying to imagine here, right? And then take that big version, reduce it by 50%, so it doesn't have to be as wide, of course, but it, design wise, it's definitely more prominent. And then we still have this version for us as well. So, and then I had a bit of feedback here, which is I'm looking at the renders for the weapons, and they're good, but something's been bugging me a little bit, and that something is that this gray here is it's too sterile. It's not quite in our palette that we kind of established from the Starship, because the Starship basically is broken apart, and that's what the sort of weapon drones sort of remind me of, right? So I was looking back at our Starship, and there's a couple things. So one is I think the gray, we need to push more back towards the white. I think we have some of the shading here, which is good. But I think when I'm looking at the charm of the Starship, right, the Veil Piercer Starship, especially because we had this paneling, and we had it's not, these things are used, right? Like they're used, and then it's it's an expression, so they're held together by duct tape and baling wire, because a lot of the repairs are DIY. Like DrBossKey and his crew just rely on themselves, and so they're trying their best to keep these weapons in as best use as possible. They're not glamorous. And again, they're kind of used. And I think when we did the Starship, we did this kind of dirty pass, right? So I think this white, we had the scratches we added, the bullet holes, I think this got us really close to what we were thinking, like having this kind of dirtier thing. So right now we need a dirty pass. And then I think you can see it a little bit here. It almost feels like the wing is the wing is too long, and it almost needs, like, maybe it's a panel, like it needs like a 2 panel, because that will help us bring that weathering damage into the wing side of that too. And then I was also noticing that we went with our top nugget here, but I really enjoyed, I think, this particular nub design. Just reads better, and it also is eye-catching for the DrBossKey ship. So this little guy here, boop, right here. But otherwise, I think we're getting there. So I took this note. I left you a note here. This is also important because we're going to go into animations, and coming back to, like, not only did we do the Starship, but it's a little janky, right? Like, you got wiggly parts, right? Like, these were cool. We didn't really make those wiggle by any measure, which is fine. But it had these accents, right? Like, the whole thing isn't smooth, silky, right? So, and I'm really looking forward to this next iteration where we bring that charm into the weapons, because frankly, when you look at the weapons, and you look at the weapons in game, right? I mean, essentially, I mean, the weapons have more character than you actually see with DrBossKey. We might make him a tiny bit bigger, but right now I'm enjoying that DrBossKey is small against a big world, and that's a kind of a cornerstone of Shmups in terms of feeling. But yeah, just like that, you're going to be seeing these things, right? So I think our little nodules can they can change their glowy bits, right? They could also be actuators and not just capacitors. Like, we're gonna have, you won't see much of it here, but you can you have kind of that spinning machinery kind of stuff in here, right? So just keep in mind, we're gonna have a little bit of jank, right? So okay, let's see what else do we got. I think those were the main pieces. Let's see. Okay, that's it. To everyone that's been following along and supporting us and sharing and getting the word out and playing, thank you so much. It's been a labor of love. It's a real pleasure for us to be able to work on this project. It's amazing to have it out in the world now. It's like 5 weeks old, for people to play with. Some really cool stuff is still coming online. And, we're also tuning, balancing, iterating. And we've got a couple of really, I think, exciting things to announce here, probably within the next week or so. So with that, we'll see you next time. Thank you, everybody.